Nifty hits record highs, crosses 22,300 for the first time ever. Stocks bounce after India's Q3 GDP growth surpasses expectations and a soft US inflation print aids global optimism. Metals, energy and capital goods lead the charge today, while healthcare and realty trade soft.
Tractor sales are under pressure, while two-wheeler names like Bajaj Auto report very strong sales. Passenger vehicle companies like M&M also post a strong sales figure in February.
CG Power and parent Tube Investments perks up following its plan to set up 7,600 crore rupees chip facility in a 90-10 joint venture. The company tells CNBC-TV18 that it could source wafers from Tata Group, which has also got the nod to set up the facilities.
And the L&T stock gains after it commissions India's first indigenously built hydrogen electrolyzer. The move opens up opportunities in domestic and overseas markets for supplies to green hydrogen projects.
GDP growth for first 3 quarters of this year comes above 8%. Apex Statistics body upgrades full-year GDP estimate to 7.6% from 7.3%. Not counting net taxes, economy to grow by a more modest 6.9%. Markets celebrate near 8% growth with record highs today. Hello and welcome. You've tuned into Business Lunch. I'm Nisha Podar, and with me as always is Pavitra Parekh. Pavitra, what a great way to end this particular week, I would say, for the market. It had been so tentative and there were various forces which were putting a spot of bother in the market. But today, it has just let go of everything. It's the economy and not just Indian economic print, but even global cues. So it's a full recipe for a good Friday, I would say, for the markets. Let's take stock of where the markets are at the current moment. Almost 1.5% up on Nifty 50 and maintaining the all-time high levels of 22,300 levels. So not letting go of the record high levels. And remember, it's a gain of over 300 points. Sensex too. And take a look at that. Over 1,000-point gain on that, 1.5% up at the moment. Bank Nifty is roaring ahead. Remember that the banking sector, the blue chip banks are always the quasi-investment for the economy. And since the economic cues are looking so much better, and that's what is revving up market, banks are the spot which are gaining the most, 2% up in trade bank Nifty and mid-cap universe. That's also about 0.85% gain. So all around gains that is seen and participation that is seen. Steel is one counter, or metals with a high beta propensity that they have are the ones which are gaining the most in terms of percentage. Market strength looking very good, Pavitra.
Oh, absolutely. Like you said, it's a solid way for us to be ending this week, and it is all in the banks. You know, ever since we opened, we have just slowly moved higher to now seeing an over 900-point kind of gain. By the way, you know, for the week, the Nifty Bank Index has done better than the Nifty as well, even though we've seen, around 0.4% in terms of a rise on the Nifty. The broader markets, however, are not so much the same. So for the week, we're looking at a 1.2% cut on the mid-cap index and a 0.7% cut on the small-cap index. That is the pocket which has been a little bit muted this week. But of course, after a solid run, like Nisha pointed out, a lot of the metal stocks doing well. All of the OMCs coming back. There's a fresh brokerage note. So BPCL, HPCL, IOC, all of these doing well. There's also a lot of news which is leading to big moves in some of these mid-cap names, right? So names like Suvain, like CG Power, like Landmark Cars, a big move seen over there. On the downside, it is IT, which has been a little bit muted, not just today, I mean, for this week as well. So if you look at an LTI Mindtree, Wipro, Tech Mahindra, the figures will come up for you for the week, and you can see the cuts are anywhere between 3 to 5% on, the names that I just mentioned. There you have it on your screen. So that is the shape of the market, looking very good today. So let's kickstart the show by focusing on one space, which is in focus on the back of the monthly sales figures coming through. This is for the month of February. I'm talking about the entire auto pack. Sonia is here to take us through the roundup of all of the numbers that we have so far. Sonia.
Well, thanks a lot for that. You know, it's a mixed bag for the auto sector this time, but more good than bad, you'd have to say. Bajaj Auto's numbers were very strong, an indication that two-wheelers are picking up quite a bit of pace. Total volumes for Bajaj Auto went up 24% year-on-year, coming in at 346,000 units. Domestic volumes went up 35% year-on-year. And there is a good recovery in exports as well. Exports went up about 10%. Now, the tractor sector has been under pressure. That's because of the continuing impact of uneven monsoons coupled with insufficient rainfall. So, total sales for Escorts down about 17%, domestic sales down 17% as well. Let's move on to the other bigger guys. M&M reported a mixed set of numbers this time. While auto sales were good, tractor sales were weak. Auto sales went up 24%, while tractor sales were down almost about 16%. And finally, Eicher Motors, Royal Enfield sales once again in single digits. So, Royal Enfield sales up 6% year-on-year. And, if you map the trajectory, the premium end of the market has been seeing a bit of a slowdown in growth. Hence, it is the third consecutive month of single-digit growth for Royal Enfield sales. All in all, a mixed bag coming through in the month of February so far.
Sonia, thanks so much for getting us all those important details. Now let's get you an exclusive corporate voice on the show. And Bharti Airtel Sunil Bharti Mittal spoke to Shireen Bhan of CNBC-TV18 and said that he is eyeing average revenue per user, or the ARPUs, to hit 300 rupees by the end of FY25. But he ruled out any hike in the 5G tariff for the customers just yet. Let's listen in.
Uses the word tariff repair, and I think that's the right word to say, because hike always looks pretty aggressive. 300 rupees, as you know, was mentioned many years back. A lot of inflation has taken place in the last 5-7 years, where electricity prices are up, employee costs are up. Almost every touch point is up in terms of costs. Yet we are still talking about 300. In fact, that number should look more like 400. But I recognize that, it's very difficult in our industry to take the ARPUs up. So next pit stop is 250, then hopefully 300. And if you ask me, I hope it happens within the coming financial year. I think people are not going to pay you anything extra for 5G unless you're going to do industrial applications.
All right, that is a snippet of the conversation with Sunil Bharti Mittal. But with that, let's move on and focus on Paytm, because we now understand that Paytm is in talks with another bank after Axis Bank to open a nodal account for parent 197 Communications. We have Ritu joining us. Ritu, what have you been able to pick up on this?
That's right. Paytm is in talks with Yes Bank to open a nodal account for its parent company 197 Communications, as well as Paytm Payment Services, to ensure that merchant settlements continue to happen even after the 15th of March, when Paytm Payments Bank has to stop all banking activities. Now, remember earlier, Paytm had its nodal account with its own bank, that is Paytm Payment Bank, which is where all merchant transactions were settled. But RBI had asked the bank to terminate this nodal account by the 29th of Feb. Now we've been given to understand that Paytm, of course, which already announced this partnership with Axis Bank to open a nodal escrow account for OCL and for Paytm Payment Services last month. And if talks fructify, Yes Bank is going to be the second nodal account that Paytm is going to open, so that the high volume of UPI transactions are handled between these two banks. Now, for the banks involved, this brings two benefits. One, they're going to earn a fee for the merchant settlements that they do for Paytm. And number two, they also get access to the float available in the account for a day or so, which can be deployed by the banks, let's say in the money market, to earn more income. Now, meanwhile, we also understand that Paytm has applied for a third-party application provider, or TPAP status, with the NPCI, where it has secured the consent of both Axis Bank and Yes Bank to come on board as a payment service provider for the UPI channel. We also understand that besides these two banks, Paytm is also currently in talks with State Bank of India and HDFC Bank to become payment service providers. Now, if you recall, RBI had recently directed the NPCI to ensure that for the seamless migration of the @Paytm handle, when you're making these UPI transactions on the app, that they facilitate 4 or 5 other banks as payment service providers, which is what you're seeing the company now do.
All right, Ritu, thanks so much for getting us all those details on the resolutions that are really in the works at Paytm Payments Bank. But take a look at the counter, up 4%, and it is recovered a slight bit, but keep it in view of the full week's chart and the way the stock has fallen. So it is still likely to end the week on a negative note despite the recovery today. So keep that in mind. Let's take a short break on Business Lunch on that note, and news and updates follow on the other side. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back. You're still tuned into Business Lunch. India has 6.3 crore registered micro, small and medium enterprises, which together account for close to 30% of the country's GDP. This has now made the sector a priority for the Modi government, especially in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. But this sector still remains quite fragile. So in our series Election Exchange, we have Shivani Bazaz, who reports that the sector is hoping for some kind of support from the government, specifically when it comes to getting easier access to funding. Take a look.
Well, the micro, small and medium enterprises, which is the MSME sector, comprising approximately 6.30 crore enterprises in India, has become a force in the Indian economy, promoting entrepreneurship and providing self-employment opportunities. But despite the government's initiatives such as the Mudra Yojana, the Credit Guarantee Scheme and the PM Vishwakarma scheme, there is still a substantial credit gap in the MSME sector, ranging from 20 to 25 trillion rupees.
The Mudra Yojana, a flagship scheme from the government, was specifically directed at supporting the MSME sector. The numbers indicate it has made significant headway. Since 2019, loans to the tune of over 14 lakh crore have been disbursed to micro, small and medium enterprises. But players in the space say getting the loans are not always easy, especially because Mudra loans are supposed to be collateral-free and banks are reluctant to lend without collateral.
I have approached around 4 or 5 banks, and when I have asked for any funds more than 25 lakhs, they have always asked for collateral, so which is as per government schemes, which is not required. So there we face, as a woman entrepreneur, we face challenge on getting the funds without collateral.
The situation, many say, is trickier for women business owners.
It is so harassing that the government is saying that till 2 crores collateral free loans will be given. But when we go to the bank says, ये कहने वाली बात है. Actually होता नहीं है. This is what I have heard from the government banks also. So when you say that, okay, I don't have collateral, okay, then you bring your co-partner to it. Co-partner means your husband.
Mudra loans are not the only measure the government has taken to support the MSME sector, especially in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic. These include 20,000 crore rupees in subordinate debt for MSMEs, an allocation of 3 lakh crore rupees towards collateral-free automatic loans for business, including MSMEs, and earmarking 50,000 crore rupees for equity infusion through MSME Fund of Funds. Budget 23-24 earmarked around 22,000 crore rupees for the MSME ministry, 41.6% higher than the previous year's allocation. Numerous MSMEs have benefited from these schemes.
You need constant finance to support your business, and I was failing everywhere and I started selling off my own personal things. I got the Mudra loan from SME. That was a big support to me. 2020 COVID came in, I got a help from MSME. Then again in 2021, again they gave me as a financial assistance.
But the fragile nature of the sector has not changed. Between the launch of the Udyam registration portal on the 1st of July 2020 and the 5th of February this year, 35,680 MSMEs have shut shop. Market expansion is another big challenge for MSMEs. And access to export markets is the challenge that needs attention. After all, only 35,000 of the 6.3 million MSMEs in India export their products.
The way this government has been working on all the four attributes, whether it's infrastructure, whether it's capacity building, whether it's creating open markets, whether it's also this entire habit of self-certification that we are getting into, ease of the taxation, ease of the GST and all of that put together, the government is bound to come back. We're talking about an economy which is going to be primarily based on cross-border e-commerce, where we are simply very early starters. You have a huge number of micro and small enterprises that have the capability and the capacity to create products that are exportable. We're missing the quality certification, the testing, and so that we are able to work to international standards. A, B, get them access to markets.
This will be crucial in advancing a sector that, as of September 2023, employs over 12.36 crore people. In New Delhi, this is Shivani Bazaz.
All right, on that note, let's slip into a short breather on Business Lunch. But up next, we'll get you all the action from Anant Ambani and Radhika Merchant's mega pre-wedding celebrations straight from Jamnagar. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching Business Lunch, and let's shift focus now to Anant Ambani and Radhika Merchant's mega pre-wedding event that has begun today at Jamnagar. Now, global business leaders, including Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg and Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates, descended for the gala event yesterday. Among the bigwigs that have arrived today include the Piramal family. Bollywood too is making its presence felt. Shah Rukh Khan and his family arrived in Jamnagar last evening to take part in the celebrations. Ranbir Kapoor and Alia Bhatt have also flown in.
There are also a lot of other high-profile guests attending the pre-wedding celebrations, including Uddhav Thackeray along with son Aditya Thackeray. Bollywood couple Deepika Padukone and Ranveer Singh will also be part of the star-studded pre-wedding festivities. Cricketer Zahir Khan along with his wife have also just arrived at the venue a short while ago, and the celebration will feature a performance from global music icon Rihanna. All right, so that is the entire list of people who have already arrived there, but there are going to be lots more. But the mega festivities will also see India's rich and diverse arts and culture in full display. So let's listen in to Neeta Mukesh Ambani, founder and chairperson of the Reliance Foundation, on what really went behind planning for the pre-wedding festivities.
Right, those celebrations going on in Jamnagar. With that, it's a wrap on Business Lunch. Thanks so much for tuning in. Mid-Cap Radar comes up next. Stay tuned for that.